Right. Oh god. Camera. I need a new tripod. Yeah, so the other day I watched a movie called Speak No Evil, and it's a Danish movie. I suddenly forgot. Yes, it's a Danish movie. Um, it's on Shudder right now, and it's not a bad movie. I'm just like, it's a lot to talk about. Um, so it's more of like a psychological horror thriller thingy majig. So it's about a family. They're on vacation in like, I think, like Italy, Tuscany, and all that stuff. They run into like another like Danish couple, and then they get like invited sometime later, like, hey, come to our place and da da da. Now, I've heard, I don't leave my house much anymore, but like when I did, people had told me that they'd be like, yeah, I met some people when I was out in Europe. I've only been to London, so I didn't get to do the whole backpack through Europe thing like some of us. Anyway, they'll be like, yeah, I met someone, and then they were really cool, and they just invited me over, and then they gave me their keys to their place. It's like way too trustworthy, and I'm like, no, like, And so, not exactly, but something similar like this happens in this movie where it's a lovely couple. They meet this couple. This couple has a kid, and they're like, sometime later, like, hey, come to our place. Da da da. It's great meeting you guys, and maybe we could just chill some more, just being like a bunch of older adults kind of thing. Cool, fine. So it starts off just, simple misunderstandings kind of stuff. So, in the main cast, the family that we're rooting for, the family, the wife is a vegetarian. I think she even mentioned that she's like, ooh, I have not brushed my hair. It is not cute right here in this general region. I'm not gonna touch that for now. That she's a vegetarian, but like I think more like a pescatarian. But as a pescatarian, I get it because I do the same thing like her. I'll be like, oh, vegetarian, because then if you say pescatarian, people's like, what's that? That means like I just don't. I'm like, I eat fish, but I don't eat, the other meats. And then people like to like start asking questions. So why not? Like, blah. Like but like it's still meat, so like. Like you're not really doing anything better for like the environment or something. And it's like, no, I just don't eat that way because I'm fat and I used to be fatter and anyway, so I mentioned that because like the wife is like, I'm vegetarian, and they go over the house and like the guy of the invite family is like yeah, I made roasted pork, and he's like, have a piece of the really good piece, and she's like, no, and he's just kind of like, what the fuck, like, that's not disrespectful, but like, come on, like, that's not, like, I'm offering you food, why aren't you eating it, and she's just like, bitch, I don't eat, meat, and then like, oh yeah, so that family also I forgot they have a kid, but the kid doesn't talk, so I guess you would say the protagonist family, they have a daughter. The antagonist family have a son. And initially they're like, oh, the son's really shy, he doesn't really speak. And so they're over their house and they're like, hey, here's like a spare room. It's a little tight, but it's fine for the couple. And then the two kids can like sleep in the same room together, fine. So it's like fine, it's just like they're getting to know each other. It's like, wow, this couple's really nice, it's pretty cool, it's all that stuff. So pretty much like the movie is like that, where like it goes like kind of like, oh, this seems nice, but realizing I'm watching this on Shudder, so it's not gonna go, dandy, so the movie just gets like it just goes crazy after one point. But I'll get into spoilers in a second. But I was fine with this movie. I didn't hate it. It's just on the lower end for me. I gave it 2.5 stars out of 5. And this is mainly because like a personal bias. Mainly because anytime children are in horror films, they're the problem. you know. They're the reason why something bad happens. Like I mentioned this a bunch of times, where like in horror films, it's always like a child, an old person, sometimes a pet, all depending. and I love animals, but still, like, it's always just like, oh, but it's like, oh, we have to go back for the kid. Like, oh my god, even when I mentioned, I think, did I mention my Moonfall review where I was like, oh, we gotta save the kids, you take my oxygen, and now you die. And it's like, ah, god damn, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be selfish. I'll be like, no, this is mine. This is, I'm not getting into the kid, fuck that kid. Fuck that kid. You know? I'm just saying, you know, as a childless, you know, old person right now, fuck that shit, you know? I love being a person who does not have children and going to family things and enjoying my time there because I don't have children yelling. It's great. I love it. I love it. Me and my friends who also don't have kids just enjoy having fun and not, well, and not being miserable with kids, but we do enjoy people watching the families who do have children who are fucking miserable because they have to handle their children, and then they give us like the dirty looks because we're enjoying our time being the same age but not having children. But anyway, so yeah, so like I said, it's more of a personal bias that, like, you know, there's children in this movie and it's like, well, their downfalls because of their kid. And anyway, I'm gonna go into spoilers. So 1 through 3 spoilers. So yeah, so the movie, it keeps going down the misunderstanding thing. So they go to a bar, a pub kind of thing, and then as they're getting ready, they're like, oh, actually it's just us tonight, not the kids, but there's this there's blah blah blah, this guy, he's a great babysitter, like he babysits everyone, like in our little town area, and not just because he's cheap, like that kind of stuff. And so they were like, oh, but you didn't tell us. And the little girl's like, wait, we're not going anymore? And it's like, oh, well, no, I guess you're staying home. So it's like another misunderstanding. They get to the pub, and then, you know, they're drinking and they're having good conversations and stuff. At one point, the antagonist couple are just like practically dry humping each other on the dance floor to a song. And the protagonist couple is kind of like, okay, like kind of like, it's kind of uncomfortable. I thought we were just gonna come out and drink and like chat, and y'all guys are ready to fuck, and we're staying over at your place, so god damn, it was kind of like this. So they finally were like, hey, let's get going. They finally get in the car, and the guy, you know, they're drunk out of their fucking minds, and the guy is like swerving and all that stuff and blasting the music really loud, and like the protagonist couple is trying like their best to be as nice as possible because they are guests in their home, in their situation, all that stuff. But I get it, like after some time, like you gotta put your foot down. So like the couple was like, okay, please like lower the volume of that, like it's loud, like we've all been drinking, like no. And they're like, okay, or sometimes, or like sometimes they'll be like, okay, and they'll do it, and then they'll like make it loud again because fuck it, or like the wife will make an excuse, and it's just like, Jesus Christ. And there was one part, and this is like, you knew some shit, I mean, you already knew shit was weird because like you started noticing the little like, oh sorry, there must have been a misunderstanding, oh sorry, I forgot, oh sorry, like it was a lot of that. And it's like, you know, there's one part where like the protagonist dad meets like the antagonist son, and he's just sitting there, and he's kind of like, oh, I guess this kid doesn't talk. And the kid opens his mouth, and he goes, ah, like that. But there's no tongue. You know, the kid's like, ah, and it's like, click, click, no tongue. And already I'm like, yep. Like, immediately, I'm like, okay. In my head, I'm like, they're gonna do that to your kid, or you, or anybody. Like, it was just like, no, get the fuck out of there. And there was like one night where, like, the protagonist couple were like, fuck it, like, you know, let's just fuck. And then it's like the antagonist guy is like at the window, like looking in. And it was like, oh, bro. And it was like the daughter would be like, mom, da-da-da, like, I want to sleep in your bed. But the parents are like, we want to get it on, you know. And then for some reason, like that, then like the antagonist couple, you know, they heard the kid crying, but like they weren't clothed, and they like held her in their arms, like in their bed, and they were like, okay, no, you can't do that, it's my kid. Like, they're like, where were you? Like, you know, your kid was calling for you, where were you? And I get it, you didn't want to be like, yeah, we kind of just rather have been fucking than answer a kid who's just kind of scared of the dark, or a little pussy of a kid. It's fucked up, but like, It was like that, no one wins in that part, that stuff. Um, so at one point, they were like, okay, we're like, the wife is like, we're leaving. I don't care. The husband's like, are you sure? She's like, yes, we're fucking going. Like, I don't feel comfortable and da-da-da. So they get up, they get the kid, they get out of the house, they go, and then they drive off. And again, I knew it wasn't that easy because looked at, the progress bar, and I was like, there's still a whole third of a movie left, and I was like, fuck. And this is the part where my bias comes in about this is why, in a horror movie, whenever there's children, fuck it. And in a survival situation, no children, Like, they're driving away, like in so many horror films, it's like, the end is right there, it's clear, we can go. They're driving, their car is full of gas, the car works, they're driving, they're down the road, they're getting the fuck out. And then the little shit child is like, my stuffed bunny, my stuffed bunny. And I'm just like, oh my god. And like the mom is like, no, like we're gone, we're leaving it, we're gone. And the girl is like being a little fucking kid, like, no, my stuffed bunny, my bunny. And the mom is like, no, we're fucking leaving. Like, she had enough, and I don't blame her. She's like, we're fucking leaving. And then you just see the dad like take a Yui, and it's like, no, and I'm the one screaming no at my like computer, like, no, Gah! Ta-da. The dad turns around, takes a Yui. Gets back to the house. He goes, hey, it'll be 2 minutes. I'll be right back. He fucking walks away. And I swear to God, he was like pretty much almost at the door or like pretty much a foot in. And then the little girl like peeks down below her backpack and pulls out the bunny. And it's like, oh, there it is. I guess it dropped. Hugs the bunny. And the mom is like, I mean, I would have just thrown the child out. I would have been like, I'm gone. I would have just, like, thrown the child out the door, yelled for the husband, and in, like, 20 seconds max, if he doesn't come walking by, I'm gonna drive. I'm out. I'll see you later, bro. But no, she goes back in the house. She doesn't even, like, call him on the phone to be like, hey, actually, our little shit of a child, the bunny is in the fucking car. Why did you take a goddamn Yui? But no, she goes in the house, and then the couple is awake already by then and sees that they had left, and then they're like, hey, you didn't say goodbye. And then they decided, the protagonist couple decides to stay because they feel bad for not saying bye. I'm sorry, but maybe because, like, I've just not had the best relationship with people in general, and I've had people just drop me like a hat, and I've also dropped people like a hat, no, I would just been like, they'd be like, oh, it's really rude of you that you just left. Yeah, bye. It would just, bye. I would have been like, I would have been like, if I was the wife, I would have been like, hey, our kid actually has the thing that they were missing. We're gonna go. See ya, bye. And I just left. And it would have sped down the fucking, dirt road, going a bajillion miles an hour, and then just left. Take the long way home, all that shit in case they're following you. Like, I don't care. I would have left. I would not have been like, I guess we'll stay. We did kind of leave them, and it kind of was rude of us. No, just fucking go. That's also why this movie, I rated this 2.5 stars. This is also why this movie is like, I just don't, this is not realistic. I'm sorry, okay? Because for me, I would, like, because basing it off of myself, I don't care, There's a certain amount that I will be flexible with people, and not be rude, but, like, if you're gonna have all these, like, misunderstandings and all this stuff, and then, like, all this shit, and then like just completely negating my feelings in something, especially if I'm like, hey, can you turn down the music? Hey, I'm trying to be as reasonable as possible with you, and then like I told you several times I don't eat meat, but you want to shove, like pork in my face or whatever shit, like I'm gonna be pissed and I'm gonna say fuck off, or I'm gonna fuck off. But again, it's like it's this movie is like, oh, like don't be mean, like this is why. This is why people end up, in a bathtub full of ice, or like their body floating down a creek kind of shit. Like, Jesus Christ, yeah, like I could be mean and all that stuff, but at least like I'm here in my, shitty house rather than in a basement chained to like a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, for fuck's sakes. Like, oh my god, it was so annoying that they were just like, oh, I guess we'll stay. And then more weird shit starts happening. It's like, you had the chance to leave. Like I said, fuck the kid. I would have thrown the kid out. I would have just grabbed, like, if I was the wife, I would just, like, grab the husband and just, like, pulled him, been like, no, bye. And then, kept going, yelled at the kid. But just, like, and then, like, finally when they did, like, try to leave again, God, it's like in, like, was the worst movie to be comparing this to, but it's like Human Centipede, where, like, the girl had a chance to leave, but she's like, oh, wait, I need to grab my friend, and it's like, I totally understand that, because if one of my friends and if, like, we were stuck in a situation, all that stuff, yes, I would want them to leave with me. At the same time, I hope that my friends understand that if I leave, it's because I'm going to get help. And it would be a lot faster that way than for all three of us to try to escape a situation. Or, you know what I mean? Or, like, we're stuck in a situation trying to kill the killer. I don't know. Like, it's just, like, I don't know, maybe again because my friends and we have a great relationship, and we understand, like, a bye bitch moment, but not in a mean way, but, like, every person for themselves kind of shit. We've talked about this enough, where we're like, if something starts happening, we all start running, and then we, like, reconvene somewhere, like, we'll figure it out, just, every person scatter, scatter like roaches, anyway, so when they try to leave again, then, like, before they try to leave again, sorry. The dad goes to, like, a random, like, room or something and notices, like, photos of the antagonist couple and then other couples. And they all, and it's, like, the progression of, like, them two, no kid, random couple with a kid, next photo, that kid is with them now, and then a new couple with a kid, and it just keeps progressing. And so, of course, the dad is realizing, oh god, they're gonna do that to our kid. And you also notice in the photos, the kids go from, like, smiling in the photo with their parents to not smiling anymore with the new parents. And it just keeps going. So when they try to leave again, the babysitter guy is there to help and, like, pulls the daughter out the car. And that's when they do the thing of, like, pulls the daughter, and that's when they cut the daughter's tongue. And then, so, like, the daughter's theirs now. And then, like, this is the end of the movie where, like, then they force the couple to, like, strip off all their clothes and, like, walk. Kind of like walk the plank, but, like, walk in, like, this quarry thing. And as they're walking away, like, the antagonist couple is chucking, like, these huge, like, stone rock thingies, like, jagged things at them. So, like, they're like, walking, and it's all of a sudden, it's like, ugh, okay, and they're naked, so it's like, it hits them, they're bleeding, they're bloody, and at one point, both of them are down. Like, they're down. And as they're down, they're just, like, beaming them, like, bap at the head, bap at, like, other parts of the body. And that's them at the bottom of this quarry, dead. Like, just because you were nice and decided to say, instead of doing the thing you did initially, which was run the, like, I understand the initial thing of going to their home and be like, oh, they're welcoming us to their home. But once weird stuff starts happening, just leave, like, just leave, and then they did have a chance to leave, but the fucking kid, my buddy, fuck your buddy, like, now all three of us are dead. Well, technically, two of them are dead, and the kid is just psychologically damaged, because then it's like, the parents are dead, da-da-da, And the movie ends with like her just kind of like smiling, holding the bunny. Like, I just feel like it's like the kid being like, I did it, I killed my parents, you know? Even though that's not the point, but like in my head, it's just like, my bunny's more important than my parents' lives, you know? Like, oh my god. But this movie isn't bad. It's like pretty decent, and like you could kind of, you had like an idea where it was going, but like it wasn't enough of like, ooh, a twist, but kind of like obviously something was like sus about the couple. Once you kind of realize what was going on, you're like, okay, I get it. It was just that part that always gets me in horror films and make me really annoyed, which is like, you had, okay, I am just shedding like a cat, where you just have a chance, come on here, you have a chance to leave, and then you don't because of something stupid, you know? It's like, we can't leave, the car has no gas. I would just start walking, you know? You know, it's like, oh, we can't, like, there's no cell service. I'm just gonna walk out, and I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna leave. I don't care if it takes me 3 days to get to somewhere. I'm gone, you know? Like, I just don't get, like, this is what happens when you're being too nice and too accommodating to people. They're like, oh, I don't want a reputation of being known as an asshole. I am an asshole, so I don't care, you know? Like, I don't care. What? Just, first of all, fuck the kid, and second of all, stop being so nice, people. Stop. And it's funny saying that because we're also in a world right now where people aren't really that nice, but you get what I fucking mean. You know? Anyway. Oh, it seems like a couple other people that I follow also gave it 2.5 stars. So good. Usually, sometimes, like, I don't rate the same as other people. Go ahead, main characters give us nothing. Oh, that was her review. I mean, she's not wrong for saying that. Yeah, it's just, it's not, again, it's not bad. I've seen this kind of thing before, although it's mostly an American movie, so this one was Dutch. Also, like, the movie was mostly in English, and then there'd be, like, some Dutch, like, here and there kind of stuff, which I actually was surprised. I thought most of the movie would just be like in Dutch, so I was actually surprised when like I pressed play and I was like, okay, I understand a little bit of English because they were like in Tuscany, so they're like, okay, easiest thing to do is speak English. And then they get to frickin' back to like Denmark, Netherlands, all that stuff, and it was just like, no, we're just gonna still speak English. Okay, I mean, thank you. I guess it was, you know, easier for my brain that afternoon, but you didn't have to. I'm not like other Americans. But anyway, I'm done talking. This movie annoyed me because children.